That is the, and I picked that one because it represents some interesting dinosaurian information that we're going to talk about in future episodes. Episode 1, what is paleontology? I picked that slide that you're looking at. That would be Stratford Hall, roughly, about, oh, I would say about 16 million, or about 16 million years ago. 16 million years ago, Stratford Hall had landscapes similar to that. And one of the cool things about paleontology, and something that I've always enjoyed as a kid, was digging up stuff, looking for things. And I bet if you ask archaeologists like Dr. Dietz, she also loves the sense of treasure hunting and finding things. So if you're into treasure hunting and you like to find stuff, well, yeah, you know this, paleontology is for you. So if you're into prehistoric animals and fossils, this guy is a Permian type of animal that lived about 220 million years ago, but not at Stratford in South Africa. And that's what paleontology is all about, the science of fossils and prehistoric life. And it is a wonderful journey. But don't get paleontology mixed up with other sciences like archaeology. People do this all the time, and it's, I understand, the ologies, but paleontology is the study of extinct life forms on our planet. Archaeology, right, is the study of things that people made or they've used and that they've left behind for us to find and try to piece together those puzzles. Well, that's what paleontology, that's what Stratford Hall is so special. It has them both. It's got world famous paleontology and it's got archaeology. So onward. So let's stick with paleontology. Well, you guys know that the Earth is very, 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 very old. It's old beyond imagining. 4.543 billion years old. And this slide I picked, I was looking for pictures that might represent what the Earth might have looked like, about 500 million years after its sort of cosmic formation. So obviously no one was there, but this gives you some representation of how different our planet looked 4 billion years ago. And here's another thing. You guys know what a billion is, right? A billion is 1,000 million, right? 1,000 million. Now, if you want to do something cool to get an idea of what this a million might look like, is get 2 level tablespoons of salt. Tablespoons, not teaspoons, tablespoons of salt. And dump them out on a piece of paper, level tablespoons, like you're baking things, you level a tablespoon. Take the table salt, not sea salt, table salt like Morton's, and dump it out on a piece of paper so you can see it. That's a way of representing what a million looks like. That's pretty close. It's not exactly. I've had people say, did you count all that? No. Well, 4.543 billion years ago, our planet started. Now, you may have seen a chart like this. The blue arrow at the bottom represents the 4.5 that I just mentioned, okay? The twisty, notice it's in French too, so you can practice your French there. But anyway, all the way around and around and around and around we go, so to speak, until we come to these 2 areas. Well, those 2 blue areas show where the geological ages of the fossils that are found at Stratford. We have found and continue to study 2 major geological areas. And one of them is the Miocene, or actually the middle Miocene, about 17 million years ago. and then the middle Pleistocene, or what people call the ice ages, as you'll see. Well, the Miocene age, which we study them a lot of, and it's really 2/3 of the cliffs. If you looked at the cliffs, be 2/3 of them are made up of middle to late Miocene deposits. That's what they call uh, uh, stuff that is, left over. And the Miocene epoch was a time of great earth changes. Check the pictures out. Ocean levels rose and flooded parts of North America. Great mountain ranges like the Rockies and later the Himalayas and the Andes rose. And one of the newest things that happened during this Miocene epoch, millions of years, is the evolution and spread of grasslands. Well, this is really, really important for our planet because a lot of animals developed to eat the grass, like horses and things like that. You would see many different animals that are now extinct. Of course, that famous picture in the lower right of your screen there shows a paleontologist. I'm not sure exactly where that shot was, but that's a reconstructed jaw of the Megalodon, Otodus Megalodon, which lived in, and we have teeth of those things. Those incredibly big. Many of these long gone animals can be found as fossils at Stratford Hall. Well, the Pleistocene, remember there's two things we talked. The first one was the mid-Miocene, that first little arrow. The second arrow was the Pleistocene epoch, often called the Ice Ages. It left a record of who and what lived over 1.6 million years ago. So that's like that's like 3 tablespoons of table salt. Million, each grain being a year. 1.6 million years ago by the hardened fossil footprints. Now that's what we got, fossil footprints. Footprints are a record of the living, moving animals. While skeletons, which you guys are mostly familiar with in museums and things, are just the remains of a dead body. So when you find footprints, you're actually finding proof that these animals moved and lived here. We have record of over 40 animals that lived in the mid-Pleistocene. Well, paleontologists have come to study the cliffs for hundreds of years, way back in the 18th, 20s, and 30s, all the way to the present.
Hey, John, I think we have a question.
I'm ready.
And it's from our boss, or maybe one of her kids. Karen, did you have a question? Do you want to type it? I'm going to allow you to talk. Let's see. Karen, do you have a question? Oh, it's in the chat. Hold on a second here. This is exciting. Give me 1 second here.
No, it's cool.
All right, I'm not seeing it. Just go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. We'll get the questions afterwards. You can jump back, right, John?
Oh yeah. Cool. You mean on these slides?
Just like after. Just keep going. Sure, yeah. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. Here are some of the fossils found at Stratford Hall. Okay, I want you to check these things out. The picture of the box there. Those are the teeth from one crocodile that Dr. Robert Weems and I found back about 1997, 98 here at Stratford Hall. We got about 40% of the animal, and it's called articulated, meaning the bones were in order, not just like scattered. The other one, the picture that has the little key fob thing that shows the track, believe it or not, that's about 90 million years old. Yeah. What's up? You got a question, kiddo?
Yes.
I'm ready.
How come some animals survived the asteroid, but the dinosaurs didn't?
Excellent question. Okay. One of the easiest way that I can explain that is that the animals, now for those that are jumping back and forth in time, we're talking about 66 to 67 million years ago, and the impact of a large, probably an asteroid or a meteor that hit off the coast of Mexico. Now, it wiped out most of the remaining dinosaurs. The animals, though, that came through, and the paleontological record indicates that at every major extinction, about the same type of animals come through. Those are the animals that can hide, that can burrow into the mud, that can fly away, and they can go places and are not stuck in one environment like our dinosaur friends. Okay, so crocodiles, turtles, birds, frogs, toads, amphibians, newts, all those guys made it through the the extinction point, right? Because they could hide, they could eat different stuff, and they could, or like the little theropod dinosaurs that would later turn into birds, right? They'd fly away. So they could adjust their environment. You got another question? Anything else, buddy? Nothing? Should I roll on? I'm rolling on. Okay, ancient whales. Hey, this is the largest whale of its kind ever found on the Atlantic coast. This is an extinct baleen whale. This is the skull of it that we found in 2003. And of course, guess what? You know, zillions of shark's teeth. Right now, I put that big megalodon in there, and everybody's going to go, "Wow! You mean you could come down to Stratford and you got to see the giant shark's teeth? They're pretty rare." But recently, on one of our scheduled fossil tours that we have, a lucky person found a 5¼ inch one. Now you measure it from the little tippy point of it to the angle. That's 5½ inches, pretty big tooth. But the person holding the shark's teeth on their screen there, that's about the kind of typical shark's teeth you find, but lots of shark's teeth. And one of the coolest things are ancient prehistoric birds. And birds are rare because their bones are so fragile and hollow and difficult to preserve. But we have a great record of prehistoric birds. And of course, the animals that don't have backbones, which are bazillions and bazillions and bazillions of them. These, the scallop that you see on the right side of your screen, and then the extinct Ecphora that you see on the left there. Those are two examples of hundreds of different types of invertebrate. So if you're into shells and things like that, I mean, it's just amazing what you can find if you're not looking for the vertebrate stuff, but lots of invertebrate shelled animals. So there's lots of things to see and do at Stratford Hall, you know. Don't forget, you can come to Stratford Hall on Wednesdays through Sundays to collect in the public collecting area. We can also arrange private tours. And you can see there for more information for group collecting, you can email a colleague of mine, Alex Withers, for more questions. So, hey, that's the little intro for today. I'm getting ready to handle a lot of questions here. See you next. This next program is Saturday, March 13th. What are fossils? So, hey, be sure to visit our website to sign up for the next programs in the series and also the other events and programs that we're featuring at Stratford Hall. Okay, Kelly. I mean, Dr. Dietz.
That's fine.
Is that it?
I think that's it. We have Maggie and Joe here. I guess you're going to be our guest kids for the day. Maybe we'll just figure out a way to do that or something. This is pretty sweet. So you have another question I see there. Go for it.
What have you found? What fossils have you found so far?
Okay.
During the past few months.
In the last few months? Not well, unfortunately, COVID's got me locked in too, you know, like everybody. You know, I can't get out and cruise around as much as I want. But the coolest stuff that I've been finding, believe it or not, are the footprints of animals. I think I showed a slide there earlier on that showed a bunch of different footprints, and those are amazing. I mean, I had been coming to Stratford. My family and myself have been coming to Stratford and collecting and studying since like 82 and 83. And I never paid attention to these little red rocks that are littering the beach all over the place. And a buddy of mine picked one up and flipped it over. And on it was a paw print. And he says, my God, he says, that's that's a so we later found out it was a river otter. River otters no longer live at Stratford Hall. I know otters are so cool. But this was a river otter that must have come down to the edge of a freshwater river creek or something 1.5 million years ago and left its little footprint in the mud. And then it was just the right conditions, it hardened, and then we picked it up 1.5 million years later and go, oh, wonder what that is. It's a river otter.
I
Amazing.
think my favorite footprint is the sloth because, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Now,
I wish I could go back and like, can we just clone one or something and just bring it back and it's my pet?
Yeah, there were 3 different types of sloths that lived in North America during the mid-Pleistocene. And we don't have the biggest, but I mean, come on. It was
You
still
have the coolest.
I'll go with that. The sloth that lived at Stratford would have been about the size of a small bear. Now, of course, the big ones got to be about 14 feet tall, and and nobody messed with them. No one, because of their size. Anyway, so yeah, the sloths are cool. Okay.
Maybe a guard sloth.
Huh? What's that?
It could be like a protective guard sloth. Move
guard
really
the-
fast. It'll be
That's
great,
right.
right?
That's right. I never looked into its whole ecosystem thing there, but you never know.
You never know. Awesome. Great questions. We have more questions coming in.
Out of sight.
Isaiah asks, how did dinosaurs evolve into birds? Isaiah Lee.
That's of course, that's the gazillion-dollar question, right? I mean, we know that they did. Back in 1972, John Ostrom, a very, 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 very famous paleontologist, made some incredible discoveries in, I believe it was in South Dakota or Montana, of something that we now know as one of the raptors, right? Everybody, because of Jurassic Park, everybody knows about the raptors, right? But he looked at the construction of the leg bones and the construction of the shoulder and some of the other aspects of its skeleton and said, wait a second, I'm confirming this is a proto-bird. And of course, Archaeopteryx, which is the most famous of the early bird fossils from the Solnhofen deposits in Germany, back in 1852, I mean, we got feathers. I mean, hello, we have feathers.
That's pretty cool.
Feathers are indicative not only of thermal regulation and insulation, but flight. So birds evolved from a type of theropod, 2-legged, medium-sized to small dinosaur that split off about 180 to 190 million years ago. Bird fossils have been around for a long time. It's just that nobody could never connect the fact that a family of dinosaurs would evolve into flying reptiles, not the flying reptiles like pterosaurs. These are different. These are flying dinosaurs. Pterosaurs are flying reptiles.
So cool. I love it. Isaiah also asks, were the Lees of Virginia interested in fossils? Yes. I know Robert E. Lee had a fossil collection at Washington and Lee when he was the president there.
I had a chance to visit Robert E. Lee's office at Washington College, or now Washington Lee College. And on the mantle in his office is a 5-inch megalodon tooth.
Pretty cool. Let's see, we got a bunch of questions coming in. Diane, you might know who this person is. Last name Bachman. Yeah. What type and how large was the biggest shark tooth ever found at Stratford?
I saw in a private collection, previous farm manager that worked at Stratford had a 7 3/4-inch megalodon tooth. That is about the biggest one that I have ever heard of. It would completely cover a man's hand, about 7 3/4 inches. Huge. That animal would have been about 45 feet long, big as a school bus.
Yikes. Okay. Isaiah is coming with the questions. I'm loving it. Isaiah Lee also asks, were there other animals who lived here who don't anymore?
Yeah, there's plenty. Hey,
So many. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
no,
I'm just
Isaiah,
excited because you've got some pretty cool stuff to share as we do these
yeah,
Science Saturdays.
Isaiah, you got to think about what's the chances of something becoming fossilized. Remember, I blabbed earlier about 2 tablespoons of salt equaling about 1,000,000. Okay, if you dump 2 tablespoons of salt out on something and then took a toothpick and nudged one of the little grains of salt, right? That's the chances of anything being fossilized. So 1 in 1,000,000 is about the chances of anything being fossilized. So what was the question? I'm sorry, I got into the
It
thing.
was, I think I just already moved it
No,
on
sorry.
here. It
Or
was,
ask it again. I'm sorry about that.
you're good. It was about what other animals lived at, a place like Stratford
So
that
there was
aren't
lots of
alive
different,
anymore.
yeah, okay. So each geological age has its own set of animals, okay? So the middle Miocene, right, has stuff that lived between 17 to about 6 million years ago. 6 million years ago, okay? And those would be basically the kind of animals that lived in the oceans or lived in bays that are, for instance, of course, you got your sharks, you got your whales, you got your rays, like manta rays and things like that. You have all the different you have, aside from the invertebrates, you have all the your regular fish. We have records of sawfish. We have something called the sunfish, which probably weighed about 600 pounds, right? Huge fish. We have sawfish. I mentioned that sawfish. Swordfish, right? We have swordfish fossils. We have all kinds of, what's been found a lot lately are crabs. The actual, like you go eat crabs and stuff, you pop open the crab and, well, never mind. Anyway, so the crab shell fossilizes, and we've been finding a lot of that too. Land animals would have to die and they get washed out to sea, and then their bodies would sink to the muds beneath the ocean waves and get covered up by more mud. So we do have about 35 different land animals that range from bear dogs
Bear dogs.
/bear/dogs, right? Dog that lived. We have, one of the most common animal that we find are tapirs. Tapirs don't live in America anymore, or North America. Tapirs live in South America. But at one time, 10 million years ago, they were wandering all over the place. And there were lots of them. They probably lived in small herds. We have also found the early horse. We have records of the early horses that lived about, and these were the 3-toed horses, as opposed to the 1-toed horse that we have now.
So Jessica asks, how many fossils have you found? Can you even count? How many do you have in your collection? In that room there, Mr. Bachman.
Okay. Are you looking? Okay, this is just the back wall of the fossils, and then I've got over there, and I got it all over the place. But anyway, I figured out one time that we probably have somewhere between 20 to 30,000 different fossils. Not different fossils. I'm sorry. Individual stock. We have lots of teeth and things like that. About 20 to 30,000 specimens.
Just a few. Rosanna asks, can we visit the cliffs and beaches on a day when Stratford Hall is closed? We would like to come with some students that are off from school this Monday. Unfortunately, we're closed on Monday.
Yeah.
We can't do that, but this is something to, reach out to us, reach out to Alex Withers or myself. We can help schedule
we can work
a trip.
We can work
we can help. So
no sweat.
Email us and, we can schedule something. If we're closed, we can make it work. Probably not this Monday. There's actually a really bad ice storm that happened. So the beach is going to be closed.
Right.
And you wouldn't be able to find much anyways, but definitely reach out. We would love to have you come out. Leslie, who I find out is actually, I got a message. Leslie is really Chase and McKenna. Okay, Chase and McKenna ask, have you ever found a whole intact whale? And do you have any complete skeletons?
Do I have a complete skeleton?
Or a whole whale.
The whole whale. Well, we did excavate in July of 2003 the whale, the extinct baleen whale. Now, it's, when these animals drop and they get sink to the bottom of a bay or an area of an ocean and are covered up, before they are covered up, predators just go nuts on them. Crazy, right? I mean, so we know that the largest skeleton that I've ever found is about 50, well, I don't know, I'm going to say 60% complete. All right. The crocodile that I found earlier at Stratford was about 60%. So that's not too bad. I mean, 60% of an animal skeleton that has been attacked by predators and eaten and stuff like that, that's pretty good. Those are called articulated skeletons in vertebrate paleontology. No, I don't have a whole one. Be cool to get a whole one, but I'm still looking.
3D scan or something, right? We can make that happen.
Right,
I'll plant something out there for you and you'll get all excited.
Later today.
Just
No.
kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Another question from the duo there. Have you ever found anything from the Devonian period? Excuse me, I'm an archaeologist, so I have no idea what that means. What is that, by the way?
Okay, well, the Devonian is a geological age of the Earth. And yes, I have collected extensively in the Devonian. The Devonian is in Virginia, is located, you would go to Western Virginia, to past the Blue Ridge, go over the Blue Ridge, go up or go through the Great Valley or the Shenandoah Valley, and then you are in the next range of mountains, and it's in those mountains, the Devonian. Yeah, I've collected extensively in the Devonian, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia. Yeah, I got some really cool early plants from the Devonian. The Devonian was the time period where plants on land started evolving.
Cool. Isaiah asks, besides megalodons, are there any other sharks that are now extinct?
Oh, yeah. You mean like most of the types of sharks that you find at Stratford Hall are the extinct forms of, for instance, perhaps you've heard of mako sharks. Mako sharks, still live in the ocean, but the type of makos that lived in the Miocene oceans 15 million years ago would look about the same. Sharks are incredible. They haven't really changed a whole lot in about 400 million years.
It's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah,
those are like alligators too. Like, how do we do this?
Yeah, well, if it works in nature, don't mess with it.
Right.
Leave it alone. It's working. So whatever's working for sharks in their body's design has worked for 400 million years. Yes, most of the shark teeth that you find at Stratford Hall are forms of extinct shark. Here's a cool fact, though. There's one type of shark tooth that we find, and it's called a hemipristris. And a hemipristris is a type of bull shark. Now, you ready for this one? This is, okay. Bull sharks still live and have been seen as far up the Potomac River as Colonial Beach.
So close to Stratford.
They swim right by Stratford, but their extinct ancestors are gone, but they were bigger slightly. Yeah.
Pretty cool. You know what I was thinking? Because I love when there's Shark Week. I'm terrified of sharks, but there's something just kind of universally fascinating about them. So I'm getting an idea that maybe we need to have a science, Shark Science Saturday at Stratford. Add another S to it, because I think everybody loves a good shark, right?
And there's stuff about sharks that are just amazing.
Let's do a shark show.
I'm ready. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. All right, another question. We've got Donna asks, how do you become a paleontologist?
Well, okay, there are two avenues that you can go, okay? The first avenue is the one that most people think about, and I want to also have, you start in school taking biology and chemistry and your sciences to get a good foundation of science. And then you you can literally find out colleges and things like that you can get advanced degrees in. Now, I'm gonna put a plug in for amateurs here, okay? The best and some of the finest specimens ever collected were by people that didn't have PhDs in paleontology. Of course, one of the most famous back in the early 1800s is a woman named Mary Anning. Now, she was just a girl. She was about, I think she was 14 when she found the first ichthyosaurs, which were the seagoing reptiles, dinosaurs that lived in the oceans. And she found these 12-foot, I mean, it's just crazy. There is a Horner, I believe his name is Jack Horner, I think. Jack Horner, university, not university, but out in Montana, amateur, found the first egg deposits of dinosaurs, hadrosaur egg field that would have as many as 10,000 eggs of hadrosaurs.
Wow.
These are amateurs that have found, and like I mentioned, I consider myself a paleontologist. If you want to be a paleontologist and you want to go the hard science route, do it. And just be persistent. But it does take an effort, but if you got the passion, hey, and you got the interest, anything's possible.
And schedule a trip to Stratford too for one of John's phenomenal paleo tours.
I'll take you on a tour, and we'll go adventuring.
Yep. There's nobody better, and I'm not making you all happy here. There's really nobody better to take you to that beach than Mr. Bachman right here. So, okay, we've got a question from Leslie asking, age of fishes. What are the age of fishes? When do they come about?
The age of fishes. Okay. Let's go back to the end of another time, way back. This is the Ordovician. The Ordovician was a time period. Now, you could honestly say that the fish structure and style and anatomy, early designs go back almost 500 million years. But fish as we know them really got going in the end of the Ordovician and early Devonian, where you have just crazy armored fish that were 12 feet long and just amazing animals. Fish themselves, the age of fishes would be, I would say, somewhere around, I would say about 400 million years ago. Because remember, fish came before land plants and before the animals that would conquer the land, so to speak.
So cool. All these, huge dates. I mean, I'm a historical archaeologist, so really I deal with the last 500 years, so this is just crazy. I love it. I'll leave you to all those ages and dating. It's way broader than I can handle. Isaiah says Shark Show is a great idea. I agree. It's going to happen. I bet you. Okay. He also says, do you have your favorite shark's teeth there, and can you show us some? What's behind you there, Mr. Bachman?
Okay.
Little show and tell.
Okay. I'm getting up. I'm going to get up. I'll be back.
Having a lot of fun with this. I do want to look at all that stuff on that shelf, though. Uh-oh, he's probably going to bring something the size of a sled over or something.
All right, I got 2 fossils coming.
Uh-oh. I feel like we need a drum roll. Oh, something looks cool.
All right, found this.
What you got?
This is a Paradon Megalodon tooth.
That thing is enormous, John.
Stratford Hall. Okay.
You found that at Stratford?
Yes.
Stop it.
This was found in the cliffs about a mile downriver.
Imagine that thing biting into you.
And this is from the collection at Stratford, which is on loan to me.
Wow.
And I haven't forgotten.
I know where you live, John. It's okay. It's a loaf of bread.
No, this shoulder bone of a whale.
Oh, wow.
This is the humerus.
Yeah, that's wild. And that's mended right there, is that right?
Yes, these were mended. This was mended, correct.
Okay.
All right.
So cool.
Okay, so I've got lots of shark's teeth, but this guy is about a 5-incher.
That's insanely large. That's so cool.
Yeah. The cool thing about sharks, though, if you want, this is kind of neat, because sharks drop about 10,000 teeth in their lifetime. 10,000. They have, I got a shark jaw, but you want me to get a shark jaw and show them?
I mean, sure. I don't think anyone's going to say, I don't really have time for a shark jaw. So go for it. This is so cool.
All right, I'm back. This is a modern. This is a modern.
That's like a goldfish compared to those other ones.
This is a modern jaw. You see?
Okay, what kind of shark is that from?
This is from a gray shark, I think.
Okay.
I bought this at a gift shop, but I wanted an example of it. If you flip it over, and I don't know if you can see that, you can see rows.
The rows. Mm-hmm.
And so when a shark chomps down, it loses a tooth, but another one simply slides into place. Now, the big guys, the Paradons, this guy, there is every reason to believe that they did not have that. That these teeth there was so much, you ready? So much bioenergy that was required to produce this tooth in the jaw of these monster sharks.
I can imagine.
That they did not lose as many teeth. Now, because you can find hundreds of teeth a day at Stratford, but finding one of these is a once every 5-year thing.
Only 5 years?
If that.
Okay. I got to get back. I got to get down to the beach. I've been there for almost 3 years. I think I need to.
Yeah, I've only found 3 big teeth in looking since 1982. But just recently that big one was found.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a tour.
Amazing. Amazing. All right, we have a question from Chase, Hannah, and Carolyn. Have you found any fossils on site other than at the cliffs? Good question.
Have I found any fossils at Stratford Hall other than what has been eroded out of the cliffs? No, I've not. But I found artifacts, human artifacts,
Good stuff.
Yeah, Kelly.
Showing my bias here.
Yeah. Oh, really? No. There's plenty of evidence at Stratford Hall for peoples that lived at Stratford many thousands of years before the coming of the Lees in the early 18th century. The record goes back probably at least 8,000 years.
Fantastic. We've got another question. Have you ever found a shark vertebrae?
Yes. They're not real rare. I mean, they are fairly rare. They are about the size of I got them in here, but I got them, trust me, they're about the size of a quarter to a $50. And they are one of the few parts of a shark that fossilize. The parts that fossilize are, for obviously, the teeth, right? Brain cases. The actual brain case of a shark fossilizes fairly often, but more often than that are the cartilaginous discs that are about the size of a quarter to a $50 that are the cushions between the other cartilage, because sharks don't have bones.
Right.
Sharks have only cartilage, just like the stuff in your nose and your knees and things like that. So I found found them. They're there.
You got some pretty cool stuff at Stratford, I gotta say.
No, you have way cool stuff.
Yeah.
No.
The royal we, John, the royal we. All right, we got another great question here from Gavin. It says, are there modern shark's teeth at Stratford? How do you tell the difference between modern and fossil?
Generally, it's a color deal because the one of the easiest things to answer about why are teeth different colors, why are they gray and dark and stuff like that, as opposed to the modern white ones, right?
Mm.
It's because of the minerals in the water that get in the cells of the teeth and then discolor it. Shark's teeth are white if they're generally new or within the past 100 to 200 years, generally. And then they slowly take on the mineral content of the water that they are submerged in, and the minerals soak into the enamel and slowly turn the color.
That's so cool. So cool. All right, we are out of questions. Oh, here's another one. Okay, see, I knew it wasn't over yet. From Isaiah Lee, have you found any dinosaur fossils at Stratford?
No, dinosaurs. Okay, you got to go to the right geology. Okay, and I've been mentioning the name of the time periods that are found at Stratford: the Miocene, the mid-Miocene, and the Pleistocene. But if you go a little inland, if you go to Fredericksburg in this area, we're pretty close to where I'm speaking to you today from, you can find, and I have found, the footprints of dinosaurs. They are more common than you think. Okay, people simply didn't know what to look for them. Now, bones of dinosaurs rare in this part of the what they call geologically the coastal plain of Virginia. And primarily because we get so much water that it will leach out the bone material. But what does preserve, but bones do occur. In Maryland, we have dinosaur bones. We found a few dinosaur bones from Culpeper that are about 190 million years old, but they're rare. Yeah, they are here in the Fredericksburg area. Boom, we got them. We have footprints.
So cool. Another question from Gavin. I have a shark's tooth from Stratford that's dark. It was dark when he found it, but now it has turned white at home. Why did that happen?
Well, it's drying out. It's drying out. I don't think if it turned white, it might have turned white. I would bet you it's kind of like an off-white or a beige because, and again, I've seen lots of different colors of shark's teeth from Stratford. And I've also seen them over time when they've dried and have been removed, have turned a lighter color, but it would not be anything like a modern day shark white. That's so.
Makes sense. Chase and McKenna have another question. And this is actually going to lead into a story that I just heard for the first time last week, and I was pretty excited about it. So they ask, have you found any dinosaur footprints other than the Bachman? What's the Bachman?
The Tyrannosaurus, yeah.
I think a story needs to be told right now.
In 1997, I am going to a place along Route 1 north of Fredericksburg looking for plant fossils. Okay. I was really into, because I was looking for the earliest flowers. The earliest flowers would be in the same age as the plants that are exposed north of Fredericksburg, about 6-7 miles. And I'm looking around and I find the footprints of 3 different animals. I found the footprint of a toad that was hopping, and I found the footprint of a small hadrosaur, which is a plant eater, and I found the footprint of a 3-toed theropod. 97. Well, just recently, and I didn't know that this was going to happen. They've gone ahead and designated it as one of the earliest forms of Tyrannosaur ever found. This is and they named it after me, which was like, stop it. Anyway, so, but
I have a feeling you might know those yes, questioners there.
Tyrannosaurus bachmani is the name of an early form of Tyrannosaur about the size of a Shetland pony that lived in Fredericksburg, and we got the footprints of it. In fact, I'm looking down here on the ground of a slab that has 3 footprints in it. It's actually a trackway, which is more than one. So
See, now we all can say we know somebody that a dinosaur was named after. I
yeah,
mean, that's
I
pretty
know.
cool. You got to admit.
It's not the earliest one. Earliest dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus.
It's a dinosaur, dude. It's
earliest-
still really cool.
The earliest one that's ever been found, I believe, in the United States. So
Fantastic. Quinn asks, have you ever found Native American artifacts? Absolutely. They're all over the place.
Oh, man. Oh, stop it. There, I mean, there are some great places that I have looking for fossils at Stratford have noticed and remember where they are of sites that I know the native Virginians were there. I know they were. These are
Stratford's got pretty incredible history.
it's
across
got
the
it
board.
all. I'm telling you, this place
does.
is the most amazing place I have ever been associated with as far as geologically, archaeologically, historically. Come on.
I know.
And
Pretty
it's
great.
a unique environment. The botany there is just phenomenal too.
Absolutely. So we have no more questions. I want to wrap today's first Science Saturday with John Bachman. Thank you all for zooming in. And yeah, if you have any ideas for topics that you want Bachman to talk about, please put them in the chat here. Send them to me. My email is kdeets@stratfordhall.org. John Bachman is jbachman at stratfordhall.org. Let us know. If you also want to come out and have a tour, let us know if you have an idea for a show that you want to see us feature on one of these Science Saturdays. But this has been a very successful kickoff to a very exciting series that I know for a fact I'm excited about having this. And John, you're excited. You might know a little something about science, a little something about paleontology. So
yeah. No, it'd be fun to get together again. Please tune in.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you all for zooming in, and we will see you on March 13th. Thanks, everybody.